Then he ended up stealing someone's identity. Then he stole his mom's identity. Police ended up like raiding his house. He fled the country. And then the last message we all got, he's like,
the man, Brunson,
paid to sell your product.
love this guy.
I honestly believe the entrepreneurs are the only people that can actually change this planet.
So when I got started in this game, I was going to school at Boise State. My wife and I had just got married, and I was broke. She was supporting us. I was trying to figure things out. And so I would spend a third of my time in school, a third of my time wrestling, and the other third of the time like in and out of the computer labs trying to figure out how to play this game. And I remember there was this young kid from Singapore named Joe Kumar. Anyone in this room remember Joe Kumar? Joe Kumar was like an 18-year-old kid who came on the internet marketing scene. His very first idea, he's like, what if I interview all these internet gurus, or whatever you want to call them, and ask them a question? And the question he asked, this may sound familiar to some of you guys here in a second, he said, if you were to lose everything, if you lost your big fancy internet marketing name, you lost your email list, your JV partners and everything, and all you had left was your knowledge and an internet connection for 30 days, what would you do from day number 1 to day 30 to save yourself? And that was the question. And he asked a whole bunch of people, and he ended up getting their answers and combining them into 2 ebooks. I read the headline, and then it was like there's 60 people who had their step-by-step 30-day plans and how they would start over if they lost everything, how they started from scratch. And I think it was $97 for this ebook, and I'd never bought an ebook. This is before Amazon had ebooks. Ebooks weren't a thing. I was confused, but it sounded like the hook, like I was in. And there's like 60 people, like 60 gurus he'd interviewed all in these ebooks. So Clint and I had been married for less than a year. I remember I got the $97 on a credit card, which was again more money than I had. Bought the thing, and then I got the ebook, and again I was confused. So I took it to Kinko's to print. It was like 1,000 pages, and they're like, well, to print 1,000 pages, it's gonna cost you like, I don't know, a couple $100. I was like, oh. So I took the thing, shrunk it, so that basically there'd be 12 pages on each page, so I could afford to actually do it. So I printed it out. So the pages are like this tiny, and I printed them. I bound them in this folder, and then we went on it was our 1-year anniversary. We went to Hawaii. So I had these 2 bound books, and I'm reading them like this page, these little tiny pages, on the flight over there, and then in Hawaii on the way back, and I'm like circling things and like freaking out. And it was interesting because I read the very first person's plan, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And the second person's, and the third, and I started realizing that everybody's plans were similar. They all had their intricacies and their differences, but all of them were basically, you need to have a product, you got to sell the product, and you got to drive traffic to the product. And somewhere between like plan 18 and plan 40 or 50, I was like, all I need to do is create a product, have a way to sell the product, and then drive traffic to the product. Like I finally got it, right? Anyway, so I got all excited. This is the part where he scammed everyone. He came out and he was like, hey, if you want resale rights to my ebook, it's $500. I'm only gonna sell it to 10 people. And I was like, what? Freaking out. I don't have $500, but I have a credit card. So I called the bank, had him increase my thing by $500. I went and bought the resale rights. I was gonna be one of 10 people to sell this product. I was gonna make millions. I was gonna, like, the vision was there. Turns out he didn't sell it to 10 people. He sold it to thousands of people. Like, everybody on planet Earth was like, there's only 10 people, this is gonna be the greatest thing in the world. And he sold tons and tons and tons and tons. Then he ended up stealing someone's identity, then he stole his mom's identity and all this craziness. And then the Singapore police ended up like raiding his house. He fled the country. And then the last message we all got, do you remember this? The last message, he's like, hey everybody, if you think those other people's 30-day plans are good, mine's the best. I'm writing it right now. And if you want a copy of it, all you need to do is fax a picture of your passport and whatever to this number, and wiring information or something to this number, and I'll send you a copy of my book. And that was the last we all heard of Joe Kumar. And he's gone. Last I heard, the police are still on his hunt. He may be on this boat, maybe. We don't even know. Anyway, so there's the joke. So there's the long story. So now fast forward 15 years later, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was the greatest hook of all time. What if I used that hook? He's not gonna sue me because if he comes out, he's gonna go to jail. No, the real story, I was actually in a decade-day call with one of my inner circle members, and they were having an idea, and I was like, what you should do, I told the story, Joe Kumar, I'm like, in your industry, you should do this. And then as I'm sitting there talking to him, I was like, oh my gosh, I should do this. And I went and I looked at 30days.com, and nothing was on it. It had a for sale sign. So while I'm doing my decade day trying to like teach, I can't remember who it was in your circle. I'm like doing this thing, and I'm on the side, like, because they can see my whole face. I'm like texting Dave. I'm like, buy this now at whatever cost. And so by the time I got my decade day call, I remember Dave. He's like, I got it. We own it. I'm like, we own 30days.com. This is like the greatest domain name of all time. And that's the project here. What would you do? Imagine this, you suddenly lose everything, your money, your name, your reputation. You have bills piled high and people harassing you for money over the phone. And all you have left is a ClickFunnels account and internet access for 30 days. And what's cool about this is I was able to go ask 30 different people who all wrote their plans, like this would be my framework of how I get back on top, right? So we had this really cool framework and we used it. Okay, but it all led with this question of if you based on where you're right now, if you lost everything, what would be the step-by-step process to get back in 30 days or 60 days or a year, whatever the timeline you wanna have, right? But how powerful of a framework is that for a question to drive a framework, right? How many of you guys in your business right now could literally tonight send an email to your list or do a social profile and be like, who here would be interested if I was losing everything today? Or I was, they say, weight loss space. I gained 400 pounds last night on the cruise ship, and I got to start over. I got 30 days till Funnel Hacking Live. What would be my step-by-step process to get back in shape, right? Or the stock market's crashed. I lost my entire investment portfolio, and I had to start over from scratch right now. At 30 days, what would I do? What would I invest in? Where would I go? How many of you guys want to know this? Okay? Or I decided I wanted to become a dancer, and I forgot everything about how to dance. What would I do to get back and compete? Whatever it is, right? Like all of us take that framework of here's where I'm right now. If I lost it all, what would be the step-by-step process to get back to where I was at in a certain amount of time? This has become a huge multi-million-dollar a year business for us. This alone could be our business. The question leads to the framework, and the framework can be your front end, middle of the value ladder, back end. Like it doesn't have to be something where we're super creative. You guys don't have to build 500 frameworks to be successful. Like if you just build one and learn how to leverage it at each of the different phases, like that could be the entire business. Like this could be a $10 million a year business easily off of one question.